I like the countdown.
I just wanted to give you time to finish that last bite, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fuck it, Joe's not ready. Throw in the 30-second countdown. Dude, you know what I'm sick of?
What?
I'm sick of shaving.
I just get too itchy after like 4 days. I think I'm about 3 days in right now.
Oh man, I did today, and I'm just like, what the fuck? You know, everything else in humanity evolved properly, but because of all the bearded motherfuckers in the cold places, you know, the rest of us have to suffer because that shit's not evolving away. But where's the medical technology to get rid of this shit? Like, seriously.
I think you can do it. Isn't it like go to one of those Brazilian waxing places? And don't they
face?
Yeah. Well, everybody else is in for waxing other areas. You could get in there. Hey, would you wax my face? I know they have a laser thing too, because one of my exes, she did it with her entire legs, and it just kills the follicles, so no hair grows.
Yeah, probably would
like do that for your face.
I don't know. I just
baby face, man. You can get away with it.
I'm tired of dealing with it. You know, and I like to grow out a beard every now and then, just because it means I don't have to shave for. You know, all I have to do is trim it. But like, what the fuck? Can we just stop already?
You know, it's funny too, being in South Florida, as I realized, you know, when you're in the pool all the time, it's like all of a sudden the showers start falling off too. Because you're always in shorts and t-shirts, and you're in chlorine or salt water.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like you can just, you know, basically you don't start stinking is what I'm getting at. So you could like pull it off before your significant other says, "Hey, what the frig, dude?" Anyhow, so how you doing, man? Good?
I am doing well, buddy. Hanging in there, doing all right. Yeah. Doing all right. I know I looked at some of our numbers yesterday, and like, it's so strange. I was just talking to somebody about this. We still have we get, you know, anywhere from 50 to 150, 200 people watch the stream eventually in the course of a day, but our number one viewership is still the podcast. It's so funny that this is most people
listen.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if we should be even live anymore.
Huh.
Except I think it draws attention. Like, even if people don't watch it at the moment, they go, oh yeah, I'll listen to that on the way home from work or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if anybody actually works in this industry, but you know.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, what I have noticed is it does knock me out of having any lunch appointments.
That's a good thing.
Which was always kind of, yeah, exactly. But it was always my bread and butter thing. Back in the days before that, it was always happy hour appointments, and can't really do that anymore. Go get hammered and sign a deal. That doesn't really fly. And lunch was where you'd go set everything up, so then you could move paper in the afternoon, or go network or just talk to people. It was kind of a a business development tool. But now it's like, I don't know if that's necessary anymore. I don't see how this doesn't really do much for me. I don't know, probably maybe a bunch of people I know are listening. I don't know, but it seems like that a lot of people enjoy listening to what we have to say, or our banter or our commentary, and it gives them quick updates because, you know, we do. I mean, I'm not scouring it as much these days, but we do tend to bring in some decent content that's relevant at that moment.
Yeah,
you know, and maybe that's why
timely
we keep it live. Because I thought about taping it too.
I like doing the live anyway. I actually enjoy it, and you know, Bitcoin's sitting down at 38,904. Joe,
yeah,
what'd you do? You were supposed to call the developers yesterday.
Devs, save me.
Devs do something.
Devs.
Do something.
You know, I'm one of these. I want to see capitulation right now. I'm sorry. I want to see this just make a big rip down into the 20s, and then.
Well, you only want to see it because you want to pull the fucking Band-Aid off. You don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I just hate it when it's like you said. It's just a lingering war of attrition at this point, and mentally. Yeah. And I kind of just want to see it like get it over with already, because we all know what happens when that happens.
Yep.
You know, then all the fresh money comes in because everybody's waiting for the bottom. How many people? I remember like in December 17, it was, you know, all those people were when Bitcoin hit like whatever it peaked at 20 or 19, something like that. And then it dipped to 14 and everybody I'm sorry, not laughing at people, but it's just a lesson that everybody learns. Bought the dip there at 14. And, you know, we all know what happened after that. It actually eventually ended up at 3 before it tore off on this run up. I think it went up some and then went back down around 3-ish and then ripped to where we are today. It's a couple of peaks up in the high 50s. Well, I don't know. It seems like that a lot of people now have learned that lesson, and they feel like it can go down and then it's going to make that run to the million or $250,000 or 100x or 100K or whatever. And until that happens, I think we're just going to be kind of in these doldrums.
Yeah.
It's sort of like those ships when they were sailing across the oceans, the big sailing ships, 16th, 15th century, and they get in those doldrums where there was no breeze at all. And they just be floating out there for like 40 days with no air and no water, drinking supplies. And it's like, waiting for something. And that gets boring. That's totally like discipline.
Oh, it's tedious and it's the grind down, fucking grind. And then you're sitting holding still because you think at some point it's going to pop back up and then you're broken.
Yeah. And then you're, wearing your Mickey D's hat at that point.
Dude, can we talk a little bit about how bad the fucking crypto media world is? Because it's just silly. Like fucking...
I don't know. It's so many of the articles that have so much clickbait, and then you read.
Yeah, but our favorite guy, fucking took a gig at Nansen. Oh fuck,
Andrew?
Am I drawing a blank? Yeah, he left and went and took a gig at Nansen, which is a media company, right? They're a data company, but they're a media company. It's for consumption. That's not what this is. This is fucking like. It's like, how many stories can Cointelegraph write where a Bitcoiner says DeFi isn't decentralized? It's like, what the fuck? Seriously. I mean, and the only reason they do it is because they know they'll get engagement on Twitter from people like me annoyed with the stupidity. And it's just like, what the fuck?
I think it's just that, again, we're in this DeFi bubble of ourselves. It's not, I don't mean bubble as a sense in a financial market. I mean, as a sense of like a closed loop of information.
Yeah.
So much of this stuff is obvious to us, because again, we have a ton of experience in this space, but anybody that's just looking at the space and they're like, oh, those APYs, Ponzi, blah, blah. And then you see something like this and it's just, I don't know. I think it's just people throwing clickbait out, but I agree. It's just, they're saying the same thing over and over and over, and it's just nonsense.
It's like, I mean, over and over and over again. It's like, how many fucking times do you need to hear Bitcoin absolutists say their opinion because they're terrified? Look, there's a bottom line. They are terrified. No matter how much they put on a good face, they know that the potential for volume and liquidity in DeFi because of usage is significantly greater than what Bitcoin can do. And they know it. And so the only argument they have is it's not decentralized enough. It's funny. I looked up the bugs from like 2010, 2012, and 2013 that the core developers at Bitcoin had to dive in to save fucking Bitcoin on. And I'm like, let's see how long it takes for decentralization. And they're still not a pure decentralization of Bitcoin. Anyway, I just find it interesting that they can't find fucking anything else to do. It's like, seriously, people, there's so much to talk about in this industry.
Well, if you're basically professing that Bitcoin's the absolute truth or whatever, and everybody's a hodler,
it's a religion.
Then what else is there to do but wait?
Yeah, and I can't imagine like being in groups and they're all grouped up together and that's all they talk about all day. And then they pick out the Bitcoiner who hasn't remained pure enough and gang up on that person and just, he owns Ethereum. He must go. We must kill him from the cult.
Yeah, well, when people aren't busy, they tend to just start lashing out at shit. I mean, it's a horrible way to live, just to wait. Yeah, they're all waiting for 2140. Well, I got a little tip for you guys. None of you are going to see it.
Yeah. Hey, you remember when we talked about Toncoin, which is the protocol that Telegram was developing?
Yeah. Yep.
And it still was going on, but the volume was pitiful and, it's still being developed. And well, guess what? Telegram has now integrated directly into Telegram the wallet from Toncoin. So people can now default, transact, and send tokens back and forth within the wallet, starting with Toncoin and Bitcoin, but they're going to be adding other tokens. So, I mean, there's a use case for Bitcoin, right? You want to send Bitcoin to people? Nobody's going to send their fucking Bitcoin to other people, but you know, there's a use case, but I'm impressed. So I went over to see, well, how's Toncoin doing? And like nada, dude, like
nothing. Is it down anywhere? Is it
how about down 10.33% since yesterday when this was announced?
What,
like what the fuck?
Is it on? Is there a chart anywhere? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm pulling up. Hold on.
Okay. It's not listed on anything. Is it on Binance?
I don't know where. It's got some exchanges. I don't think it's got like Binance. Yeah, here's chart. Let me. Yeah, you can. I've got it up.
Okay, cool.
24 hours. Like, you know. You would think, how many users does Telegram have?
But look at the volume at the bottom. That looks good.
1.06 million.
No, but I mean, see how the stream,
how
it's thin, and it starts growing as you go to the right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But I mean, people selling, obviously.
Yeah. But it's like
220 to, it's not, well, look, it's not that. I mean, 225 to 205. Yeah, I guess 10%.
Yep. It's just odd that, I mean, how many users does Telegram have?
Isn't it like 1 billion?
I think so. Oh, I don't know how old this is. Oh, January, 550 million active users. I mean, look, 500 million users exposed to cryptocurrencies, and this coin is the primary one. How does that not? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, I'm excited to see it. I think it's a smart thing. I'm curious how Telegram's getting around I mean, they didn't issue the token. It's an independent project. So I guess from an integration perspective, they don't have any regulatory issue worries, but I don't know. They must have decided they didn't.
Well, they got, when they did their settlement, 2018, 19 timeframe, it probably was something like, figuring out a way in that settlement to do something in the future, which meant giving it away probably just to an independent party to run with it. But, also look, they're not in, where are their servers? I mean, I know they have a bunch in like Abu Dhabi and places like that. And I think crypto's pretty much legal in Abu Dhabi completely now.
Yep.
So they probably have layers, and everybody likes Telegram. Yeah. I mean, look who's using Telegram. Just look at the war. It's like all of them are using Telegram channels. Exactly. And we know that like Hong Kong dissidents like Telegram, Iranian dissidents. I mean, it's not. It's something that everybody likes. I mean,
well, you know me. You know how I prefer it over Discord. I mean, I use Discord a lot now, but from an interface perspective, it's just far superior.
Yeah, and I like it better than Signal too. I use Signal for like family and kind of the verified account type stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as you can't really do the channels there. And even with Wicker, I did a little bit with Wicker in the past. Telegram just seems to have the best of all. Yeah. Particularly when you can do direct encrypted to person, and I also like disappearing messages.
Can you tell me why Chuck said chemical castration, Brad?
He might be in the wrong. That's Pornhub, buddy. Pornhub. You're on the wrong tab.
What were we talking about at the very beginning of the show that he said chemical castration about?
Jeez. Okay, we got another comment below. Maybe.
Well, this one is you got to do the show at some point.
Why is I kill two of those stuff, right?
Yeah.
About your beard.
About the beard.
Yeah, that would work too, right?
I don't know, Joe.
Knock out that testosterone.
I've got the German family. I don't think it would matter. So I'd probably still have a beard. Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. That was such an odd comment. Good. Yeah. That's thank you, Chuck. Thanks for participating. Thanks for playing, Chuck. So Toncoin. I thought that was pretty interesting news. I found a new competitor.
Wait, can I ask one final question?
Yeah,
on that,
yeah.
Brad?
Yeah.
There's now a wallet. What you're basically saying is there's a wallet deployed on Telegram where you can make payments from within Telegram.
Yeah. Now I haven't seen it yet. Let me see.
That's brilliant.
I didn't see an update come in for Telegram yesterday. Maybe they're rolling it out slowly. I don't know. There's nothing in the settings about it. I don't know. I'll look more into it. If I find it, I will run a screen up of it tomorrow. But let's see.
I got a message.
You can now send Toncoin. Oh, it's a bot. It's bot based. Okay. So they're doing it bot based. That's why there's nothing in the interface. I wonder if this is being spun this way via Telegram's official wallet bot, which allows them to purchase cryptocurrency by bank. This is Toncoin's wallet bot. It is not Telegram's wallet bot. Anyway, glad to see it. I'm going to give it a run. I'll play with it tonight. I'll send you a couple of Bitcoin, Joe, and see how it goes.
Yeah, please do. I'm going to go donate to some panhandlers down the street. So
Panama's jumping in the game.
I like that.
Yes, sir. No capital gains. And it's not too expensive to get yourself a passport there.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like I remember with El Salvador, they were talking about all they can offer up is the residency permit thus far. They're not serving the passports up yet.
Yeah,
Panama's been good at that for a while.
Yeah. So and we have some connections there, so we'll see. But look, the more dominoes that fall, the better, right? It's good to see. It's good to see the more countries embracing and realizing the benefit. Now they're not doing legal tender. It's just you can pay for any government services with crypto, and it's not just Bitcoin. It's all cryptos, or I'm assuming some selection of cryptos. But yeah, it's great to see. I'm excited to see it.
So you can pay government officials government departments with crypto. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, bribes are now legal with crypto.
Yeah. But the other cool part about Panama is they have interesting foundational structures there where you can do family foundations.
Yeah.
And basically, do it in legitimate banks, legitimate law firms. So it just gives you another layer of, everybody knows what you're doing. It's not hidden, but it gives you a layer against, predatory litigation from, how do I put this? Maybe spouses or soon to be ex-spouses or, you run over somebody with a car, things like that, where you want to protect assets. You can do that, like throw deeds of houses in there and do all kinds of cool stuff. Just gives you a little bit more time to get your house in order. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to tell this story. It has nothing to do with DeFi because it just struck me as so bizarre. Some dude in like Michigan or Pennsylvania was driving his golf cart drunk, and a buddy of his fell off, hit his head, and died. He's now been charged with manslaughter. Yeah, which isn't there like 20 different types of manslaughter? I'd be curious to know what because that doesn't sound like it's premeditated. It sounds that's what manslaughter is. Yeah. I mean, manslaughter is you didn't mean to kill them, but you still did, so you must pay. Yeah, but there's different, like, I guess if you're like drunk driving a car, it's like much worse than something else. And is a golf cart a car? Evidently they decided. Well, the moral of the story is don't fucking let your people fall out of the golf cart. Yeah, but tell them to put on the fucking belt, man, if they're that trashed. Yeah, I mean, and how? I mean, you can't go that fast in these things. No, I mean, how the hell how old were these people? Were these guys like 85? He's an adult. I don't know. I'm like, looks like they got into the weed cookies or something like that at the assisted living facility. And they're out wrecking around with the golf cart drunk. I don't know. Yeah, I think you deserve it, buddy. So manslaughter. I found a new. This is a competitor to the bank. It's called TIN.network, and actually is pretty nice. I haven't gone through every aspect of it, but this is Sifu's wallet, by the way. Hey, is he coming on the show?
This is definitely no. He's not coming. Actually, I've been very respectful of him. I always said he did a great job managing their money.
Yeah.
You can't. Nobody can argue with that. It was just a reputational issue that damaged the project. So, anyway, really nice. It's pretty clean interface.
Slight reputational issue.
Let me see so people can actually see what I'm doing.
So I changed it.
It's called TIN Network. TIN.network. Shows you everything you've got. It has the DeFi pools. It separates out your wallet balances from the DeFi pools. Total pending. I guess that's transactions pending. And, then it'll show you details. There's a drop down for each one to show you the details of what you have and where and what it's doing, etc. This one, it looks like they have an open ability to show yield. Let me see if I can see if any of, he has a ton of Yeti. I keep noticing that. Yeti is a lending protocol on Avalanche. Yeah, here's one that shows you what you've gained so far. They must not have connections to all protocols yet, but it's actually pretty nice. And I'm gonna play with it for a few days instead of DeBank and see if I end up liking it better. But the initial load time on the wallets is a little long, but you're getting a bit more detail here. I can't decide if I like the interface better on this or not, but anyway, I like it. I don't know what this radar function is. Oh, it shows the proportions of your investments, where they are, what you have the most of.
Look at the advertising in the top, the banner ad.
Yeah, that's how I found out about it.
Oh yeah, wow.
I was in the Discord. I was in the Discord for the group, and the founder of Printer was saying how much he really liked TIN Network. So anyway, but this is a really cool little feature that you don't get, which kind of just shows you how you're distributed, where your money is. He's obviously heavily in Avalanche. Let's see what he's got in NFTs. Has he got any NFTs? Yeah, he's got a few NFTs. Time Frogs, Ether Bloom. But you know what? These were probably just sent to him by people that have his wallet address.
Yeah, I'm looking at Yeti Swap right now. It looks pretty friggin' cool. Awesome NFTs is their tagline, basically. And you can stake NFTs here. Let's check that out. Yeti Swap Summer Collection. Rate 2,400 Yetis a day. All right, so you need that one or the Penguin Finance Ghoul. 750 Yetis a day.
They also have a revoke feature, so you can revoke permissions on your wallet once you connect your wallet to it. They're building a bridge, evidently. Let's see what the report gives. Oh, tax report coming soon and holdings report that you can export. That's pretty handy. Those are a couple of things DeBank doesn't have yet. Let's see. Farms. Oh, they also have listings of farms available. That's awesome. Oh, with audit status. That's actually, this is cool. DeBank doesn't show you things you can go into. So this is kind of cool. Although they have a search here, but they don't have any other filtering like you can get on CoinDex or Multifarm.
Hey, can you click on one of those audited buttons? I want to see if that's hot.
I think it just, oh yeah. Printer Financial was audited and passed. It takes you to their documentation.
Nice. I like that.
Autofarm.
Uniswap's not audited.
Autofarm. That is pretty impressive that they have links to all the audit reports.
Look, there's no audit for Uniswap. That's kind of funny.
Right?
Right there, right below that. Yeah, with $7.5 billion in TVL.
I got to believe they were audited.
You would think. What are the other ones? Like Curve? Yeah, no audit for Curve.
Yield Wolf. 19 million in TVL. Multi-chain. I never heard of that. Have you?
No, over here, the one that I always heard about was Elk Finance, as they were rolling through the different chains. In fact, I was in it early, and then one day went from $1 to $8, and then I was gone. But I still see people are still in it. It went up to like $3. Now I think it's at like $1.60. But they're on all these chains.
Right.
Never really used it or figured out what it does. But I'm just over on the Yeti Swap page looking at their partners, and they got 11 partners. Avaware, Avex Stars, Canary Exchange, Elk, Kyra, Olive Cash, Penguin, Roku, Singular, Yay, Smart Gallery. So there's a lot going on Avalanche.
Yeah.
Beyond Trader Joe's and Blizzard and Aave and those guys. There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Hey, here's some aping pairs, dude. So I went to this Yield Wolf Phantom from there. 10,000 trillion %.
Get in early. Get out fast.
Like in 20 seconds.
Yeah, you jump in there and stick around for lunchtime and then bail out.
Oh, PAE. I'm in a pair on PAE on Beefy. I don't even know what the fuck it is. It's been hanging around. This is like Beefy, but multi-chain like Beefy as well. I wonder if they just forked Beefy. That's interesting. All right. So anyway, like 10, I like the way it looks. I'm going to give it a play. I'm really used to DeBank, and I really like the product a lot from an interface and user experience perspective. But it's still pretty interesting. So we'll see. I'll give it a shot. I'll let you know.
Oh, Brad's private board.
Nah, this board is private.
Pornhub.com.
It's a link to their roadmap, but they have it locked. So there's that.
Huh. Yeah, well, wonder what's behind there.
Just their roadmap, I would assume. But for some reason, they locked it down. I don't know if they didn't want their competitors to know what they were up to. Who knows? Oh, that's cool. You can open the full wallet balances up in a separate window too. Imagine, I'd like to be perusing this $15 million wallet as mine. Would you not? Yeah.
Why not, man? Give it to my daughter.
There you go. Let's see what stablecoin yields Yield Wolf has. Come on, load. An error occurred on client. Okay, that's not confidence instilling.
No, that's not good at all.
Yeah, I think we'll pass on Yield Wolf. And see, founders, developers, this is the kind of shit you got to worry about. Like, number one, stop making people sign in via wallet to see fucking yields and what you have available. We're seeing less and less of that. So they've listened to us, Joe. But number two, like, you've got one shot with people's money. If you throw an error, if shit doesn't load right or looks wonky, people are going to be like, okay, I'm out. If they haven't heard of you before, if they don't know who you are. And, that's the kind of shit that'll kill you.
Well, and particularly new people to DeFi. They come in because they're already think it's all full of shit starting out, with these 10 trillion % APYs. And then all of a sudden the page doesn't load or they can't do something. Exactly. It's like, then it just says next.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So Composable, who I think we've looked at before, Composable Finance announced yesterday cross-chain smart contracts. So basically, the concept is, there was a nice summary here. Hold on, what is it? I like that they say, I like what they're talking about here. But the bottom line is, users don't want to care or know why shit happens, right? Everything we approach right now in crypto is focused on the function of each protocol that we go to and visit, right? Whereas ultimately what users would not really care about is how they're earning money. And they don't care about the mechanics of what chain it's on, how it functions, etc. So the idea behind this, where was the good summary? Hold on. We can introduce this by rethinking interoperability in DeFi. Most solutions are simply glue, which allows projects with different instances to be able to communicate. So messaging systems that allow smart contracts to communicate with each other because they're composable, right? The limitation here is that interoperability is being applied retroactively, not proactively. So what he's talking about is making the applications natively cross-chain. So you're actually deploying an application with the intent of it functioning cross-chain, seeing the same tokens, working cross-chain. So it's like what we were talking about. We weren't. That was me. I interviewed 100 Finance yesterday, and they're working on cross-chain lending, right? So you can have the tokens on Phantom that you want to borrow against, but borrow against them on Avalanche, right? But the contract knows that you have the tokens on Phantom, so lets you borrow AVAX on Avalanche against the tokens you have on Phantom, and you don't have to bridge it, transfer it, et cetera, right? So that's obviously a handy example of the protocols communicating. In this case, they're making it natively that the contracts are interacting together across chain, right? So you're basically running from the same smart contract on multiple chains. And then it's seamless. Then the whole thing happens so in short, XCVM creates an environment where a single contract deployed on our parachain will allow for smart contracts on different chains to interoperate in a trustless way. So you no longer have to make a communication channel between two contracts. They will just automatically out of the box operate together. The other cool thing that was interesting was they are building out core functionality that developers can make use of in their system. So DEX trading, swapping capabilities, lending capabilities, etc. To me, this is a really big move. Now, I haven't looked a lot at Composable, but this is a really strong kind of protocol play. It takes us to the point where you and I always talk about, Joe, which is the user doesn't give a shit what chain they're on. You know, look, a segment of the users today do because they care about those chains, but eventually users aren't going to care. You know, that I got money in my wallet here. I want to spend it. I want to use it. It's going to function wherever I am. Right. And so this is another step in that direction without having to bridge, without having to worry about whether the funds got there properly, just being wherever you are and having a smart contract function the way it's supposed to happen and being able to interact with it wherever you are. So maybe you did a lending play on Avalanche and you're on Phantom and you can understand and see what's going on whatever you did on the lending on Avalanche. Anyway, I'm impressed with this. I think this is going to be a pretty powerful offering.
Well, I guess if it's cross-chain smart contracts. So, I mean, Solana's, I think, mostly Rust, right?
Correct. I don't know if parachains. I don't know if this works on Rust. You know, this is Kusama. This is what is it? Polkadot. Kusama. Yeah. So that was already built from the beginning to be cross-chain. That's the whole idea of it. Yep. But they're taking it another level. You don't have to deploy separate smart contracts across the board. You deploy them to their parachain, and they will work and function and be callable from all the other chains.
Okay, so they're the ones that kind of do the interface then between all the others, whatever the other smart contract.
Right, the parachain actually connects to all the other chains, but you can be anywhere and call that smart contract, right? And that also brings a ton of power to developers creating protocols, right? Mm-hmm. If this is a standard that you can rely upon, then your deployment out, it doesn't require you to have to like make the changes you have to make, deploy, test on every chain. If this becomes a seamless available thing for people, you no longer have to worry about any of that shit, right? All you've got to do is deploy your smart contract on their chain, just manage that, just deal with it, and call it from any chain that people are on. So that's to me, a pretty massive sea change if people start using it, adopting it. Got it?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, anytime there's big battles between, I don't want to say standards, but networks. I mean, think about when all the telecom companies were competing. What was Sprint and MCI?
Oh yeah,
AT&T
MCI.
or Bell, whatever it was back then. What were they competing on? They were basically competing on price.
Yeah.
So you could, whoever was cheaper, because then you had to pay for all the long distance calls and everything. And so when I look at something like this, well, now, it's all merged into kind of a whole different type of network, the cellular stuff, but digital networks. But there was, nobody was really thinking about performance, I don't think, back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was
so
so
now,
much
what do we
limits,
think about Avalanche, Phantom, Polygon? I mean, we're thinking a lot of cost, price, vis-a-vis Ethereum, at least when Ethereum gas fees were super high. And then some were faster. Maybe some features on how much it costs to bridge in and out. But I think like what I'm getting at is when you see what you just talked about, the cross-chain smart contracts, it's sort of similar to me because really there's not anything other than price that, I mean, I guess some can be faster or whatever, but it's really community based in my loyalty based things. I don't see huge technical differentiators there that change the user experience
between the chains.
Yeah, that make the
not
user
from a user
different.
experience perspective. Yeah. No, we're all interacting the same way. You're right. We're all interacting the same way. We're using wallets. I mean, there may be some UI styling differences across chains, but at the end of the day, it's the same kind of functionality every time, right? Which is why I've always advocated that the UI should be extracted away from dApps. dApps are an attack vector. They put users at risk. They are badly done because most of the developers in this space are not front-end people, and there's not enough front-end people to create nice UIs, UX. And so this is interesting. Now, the other thing this is a Trojan horse, right? Because what happens? Well, this chain gets all of the smart, if it becomes widely adopted and developers say, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to put my shit on this parachain because then I don't have to deal with deploying to all the other chains, but I can still make it available to people on those chains. Then what happens? If you get a wide adoption of developers deploying this way, then who has all the power? What chain has all the power, right? At what point do the other chains become useless, right? Why do
they just become buried infrastructure that nobody sees?
Yeah. And even then, the only thing that they have relevance with anymore is particular protocols that still exist on them that are just existing on the chain and the tokens that are native to those chains, right? Then it's just it's like you said earlier, the telephone companies all shared the same infrastructure, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what it becomes. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. So this is an interesting play from that perspective, to my mind. If you have an underlying chain that can work with everything and now has smart contracts that only have to be deployed once, why do why do we need
go to every other chain independently or individually?
Yeah. So it's interesting. Very interesting.
What's their revenue model? How would they capture revenue from a client like that?
No idea. Well, this is the main company, Composable.
Okay.
But this is their entire model. I would assume there's some fee structure, but no idea.
Yeah, because it's almost like when everybody moved from having their own servers to hosted server model. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of like now you're kind of like, okay, if I give up a certain percentage, I don't have to deal with any of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And boom, I'm just off executing on acquiring users and fulfillment and all the things that generate more revenue. And then all of the infrastructure stuff has basically been taken out of my hands for a certain percentage, which you just bump the price up.
It's really cool. Interesting. It's really, really interesting. It makes me, I've looked briefly at Composable before, but now it really makes me, I think you've taken a deeper dive than I have in Polkadot and that whole world. I have not, but this kind of shit makes me say, wait a minute, right? Like, okay, if you're making a strategic play like this, then you have a ton of potential to seize a lot of bandwidth if you can get the attention of the developers, the people creating the code. Like, I've had some conversations recently with Scoopy at Alchemix about, and watching kind of their deployment that they're doing right now on Phantom. Like they're this close to going live. And it's interesting to watch them have to kind of deal with and work with each chain and then each partner on those chains, et cetera. Well, you're deploying liquidity at Spirit Swap. You're doing this at Spooky Swap. You're doing this here. And those are all chain specific partnerships. But what if those partnerships start moving to something like this, right? Then you only got to do the partnership once, right? Yeah. Because you're here on the parachain. It's everybody's deployed their smart contracts there. Now interoperability becomes one contract to one contract, right? And everybody is cross-chain. There's a lot. To me, there's a shit ton of potential here for this to dramatically change the nature of the way chains work and how developers deploy. So,
well, and also look, if you're, in the big time, you've got you have account reps for each of these chains that basically just, partnership directors, whatever you want to call them, that basically are there in the day to day. It's all they do. Maybe you have a couple of them, maybe it's 3, but now all of a sudden you need 1.
Yeah.
So you don't have to hire 4 or 3 people. You need 1 person.
Yeah. And the development work dramatically decreases.
Yeah.
It's,
this looks like, you're probably adding 6-7% or 7 points to EBITDA if this is functioning.
Yeah. And look, and if developers start using it, we haven't done any technical due diligence on it. We don't know how it performs. We don't know what the security infrastructure is like. There's all kinds of issues.
The concept is good. The
concept is phenomenal, brilliant, really brilliant. So I just find it, I found that really interesting. And I think there's a ton of power and potential behind it. Let me see if I got anything else interesting. There's I haven't dove into this, so I won't talk about it too much, but I'll share the tweet in the show notes. In the Curve Wars arena, there's now 20% plus APR on stables. And it's somehow a partnership between Yearn and Inverse Finance for a specific curve pool. So again, I haven't taken a dive into it, but it's somehow related to the Curve Wars, and it's but 20% APR on stables is nice. So I'll take a closer look at that, but I will share the tweet for now in the show notes. Do I have anything else, Joe? You got anything else, Joe?
European inflation, 7.5%. So,
Ooh.
They're not immune to the stuff we're dealing with too.
Right.
And then I saw something about Musk and Twitter. His goal is to authenticate all real humans on Twitter. So, like KYC for Twitter, basically. Doesn't mean you have to go by, Brad Nickel. You could still BO5 crypto.
Yeah. How do you validate if you don't go by your real name?
Photo ID. ID.
But how do you can't get a photo ID if you're pseudonymous?
No, I mean, everybody's going to have their real name in there, but they can have a username like this. Like on.
Oh, so nobody else would know your real name, but
right.
I get it.
Yeah.
So they'll let you use it, but Twitter will know who you are.
Twitter will know who you are, and it's also a way to eliminate all the bots.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but they also, I think what they're talking about too is, it's one of the things we talk about. When we were kids, they would say, what is it? Sticks and stones can break your bones, but names can never hurt you, because people talk trash. Well, basically why they would say that is it means you don't have to punch somebody in the face for saying a bad word to you.
Right.
And that was the whole thing. So now nobody sees anybody. So everybody just says the most brutal things they can possibly say, or the most inflammatory things they can say, because there's no repercussion, nor is there a libel law. So I think what, everybody's thinking now is that this is going to move into areas, social will move into areas, particularly Twitter, where there is libel law that'll apply in, this tech legislation they're all talking about. So he might be setting up for that. But I think his real goal is really just to get rid of the bots, because he complains about that. And also the crypto bots. He hates that.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting. I was kind of surprised that they'd be talking about authenticating accounts, but something that probably where it is going to go.
Probably.
But then everybody says that'll be the death of Twitter. And, and then other people are saying, God, the Twitter board, man, they got to steal on this one because they can finally get out of there. So who knows? And there's a lot of speculation that he's not even going to buy it at this point again. So I saw more on that today. So
aren't you a fan of Jarvis Labs?
Yes, I am.
Well, they just got called out by my business partner today.
Oh, really? Well,
blatantly stealing our dashboards.
Really?
Yeah. Look at the tweet up on my screen.
Okay. Let me see. I'm in their Telegram channel. Let me see if they're talking about it. Ben Lilly and those guys.
Yeah. They just got called out for launching a new dashboard where they're blatantly copying our dashboards.
It's kind of hard to like. I mean,
he admits it. He admits
who?
it in the follow-up. So Fred, my partner, tweeted this, and then he says,
and what's Ben say?
Ha ha, yes, it is inspired from Material Scientist. It's like, yeah, dude, it's not inspired, it's fucking stolen. It's like, no, he didn't steal our code. Let me make it clear. I'm not claiming he stole our code. I'm just claiming that and this happened to get previously with some other similarities as well as UI similarities. But last week there was another instance of this, and their community called them out for taking our stuff. And this week my partner was like, all right, fuck this shit. We're going to call him out.
Well, it's kind of hard to do. I mean, there's only so many indicators out there, and the new ones, of course, show up every now and then. I don't know how else, because I looked at, they've got, even Kingfisher's got some stuff going where I don't even get what their charts are saying anymore.
Yeah, but look, I appreciate you trying to be diplomatic with them, but this is dashboards and charts that didn't exist in the space prior that we had. And they just basically said, "Oh, fuck it, that's a good idea. We'll take it." And look, it happens. It's business, and people are going to do that shit. But we had a relationship with these guys, like provided them content, worked together with them on a couple of things. So it's just shitty. It's just shitty. It's just,
yeah, I was always surprised. I'm surprised because they come at it from a different angle. They're coming at it more from an AI side.
Not anymore.
On macro, where you guys started out with the fire charts, right?
Yeah, they're not anymore. Now they're just going to do what we do.
Yeah, that's probably a mistake because they had something totally unique at one point. And I don't know why they didn't stick with it. They have institutional clients. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That were buying there. So I don't know why they would waste their time going into retail where everybody's in retail.
Well, and these are tools. The tools that they're copying are tools that institutional clients want. These are the ones. That's why we built these for our institutional clients. But it's just shitty. It's just stupid. It's like, look, you know what? Come buy us. If you want the better product, just buy the company instead of blatantly copying it. Anyway, I'm glad my partner called him out. So.
Yeah, again, I don't know what I can't remember. I haven't seen any of your stuff since the original heat maps or heat charts. And then it went to another one and another one. Yeah,
we got 40 more dashboard pieces like this. So
yeah.
Anyway, it's fun to see.
Well, Fred's an original thought guy, so I would never see him copying anything.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He can't. He couldn't stand the thought that anything he put out was a copy.
Not Einsteinian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you guys should talk to him and just get it sorted out. But maybe put Keith and Fred on a call with him at the same time.
Look, I'm all for this battle. Are you kidding me? I want this to be public and big.
You guys should merge, man. Well, these things often turn into mergers and things like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I want it to be big because it just draws more attention to us. When his own community is calling him out for it. I didn't
see anything of that in their channel. I didn't see anybody calling him out.
Oh, I don't know if they're doing it in Telegram or not. I don't know. I just going by what Fred sent me in a Telegram message. So
maybe there's other members of Jarvis in your channel. Maybe that's
there are. Yeah.
That's probably where it was.
There are.
Also, do you guys ever look at the Kingfisher stuff?
We have looked at it before previously, but it's been a while.
Because what I noticed, it was funny because some people had vertical, liquidity maps, like spikes. And then somebody else had the same chart sideways with all of this stuff going left to right. So everybody's taking everybody's data and skewing the display to call it original.
Yeah.
I think all you guys should merge together. If you want help.
Just show me the fucking money. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Well, none of these guys know how to put a deal together either. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You guys too. Because you're all altruistic. You all are giving stuff away and great signals and intel and stuff like that. I think if you guys all got together, you'd capture the market. You'd have to figure out, let all the egos sort out as to who's actually running.
Yeah.
Go ahead. My vote's for you, buddy. I'll vote for Brad.
No.
I need Brad for another project. No. Brad goes a silent partner at that
Brad
point.
is not running whatever happens there. And and those egos are going to be there'd be some significant ego stuff there.
Oh yeah. That'd be funny to watch. I always enjoyed that, and just see. I'd be in these meetings.
You know what though? Like if you got look, this isn't a bad idea though. Let's say you had 4 companies like this, right? And all of them have 2 or 3, 1 or 2, 3 people that are the brains of the concepts that they come out with. Fred on our team, Ben and his partner at Jarvis, the other guys. Imagine the internal competition and collaboration that could occur. Like if these guys, because you could, they'd just be like, everybody will just be cranking out at like a rapid pace. So,
and then they're all going again, trying to outdo each other. It's like a genius scrum fest. It's
exactly.
Like,
you're
the investor.
Freaking awesome.
You just love that stuff.
Of course.
It doesn't get any better because you don't have any slackers on the team. And everybody's trying to prove they're smarter. I'm smarter. Exactly. I'm smarter. And everybody, I did that too. It's a bunch of, and all you are is counting your money.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. That's a great idea.
Sit in these meetings.
Did you make that happen for me?
Yeah, sure. I was in these meetings with these Russian scientists, and we had a fund. This is ways back, and I was in this meeting, and you got a couple of NIH scientists. Everybody's a PhD in the room except for me and the lawyers, and then you got another scientist who was the one who sequenced the human genome. And so they're out pitching their thing to us because, I worked for that scientist fund. He hired me to run his investment fund after his company went public. And the other people would say this, and then he kept interrupting after they would say it. He's like, oh, yeah, I was doing that back in, some big institute in St. Petersburg or whatever, back in 87. There's this kind of Russian Academy of Sciences group where all the super genius rocket scientist types are at. And I just can't remember what it's called. But so they're all like, and the other 2 were, I think, Hungarian and Italian. And so they're all just constantly like, I did that first. I did this first. And you're just sitting there trying to, creating a financial model on the fly while they're all talking and writing a business plan. Like 8 hours at a stretch at a conference table. While all they're doing is arguing and fighting. And I'm trying to pull it all together. And I got it done in 5 days of that.
Nice.
Of course, I needed a 3-week vacation after that because I was burned.
Joe, the master of the deal.
But it was just all, ego.
Yeah. Anybody out there needs projections, deal parameters, whatever, you guys should message Joe because he's the shit.
Lots of M&A background too, value perceptions, expectations management, speed bumps on closings. Everything you can possibly.
$1,500 an hour, something like that.
For that kind of stuff, yeah. But we do like retainers too, so don't.
I'm just busting.
It depends on what. It depends. I'll tell you a story. So last story before we go. So I'm in Shanghai.
Just so you remember.
What?
I have a call in 6 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So I'll make it go fast. So I'm in Shanghai and I'm talking to a lawyer. Great. Some people love him. Some people don't. George Lee. And he was, he's executive committee member at Coudert Brothers, which anybody who's international business knows about Coudert Brothers, Coudert. It was shut down for some stuff, cross government kind of messy businessy things. And then he was at Greenberg Traurig and he was chairing their executive committee. He was on our team. And so I'm sitting at the first meeting with him and, how much he charged an hour. And, this is like 10 plus years ago. He's like, oh, it's $2,000 an hour. And I'm used to like 1,200, 1,400, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. And he says, well, let me put it to you this way. You find out you're sick and you find out you have a brain tumor in your head. And you go to the doctors and one doctor says, oh, I could do it for 4,000. And the other doctor says, I can do it for 300,000. Which one are you going to hire to cut your head open and pull the tumor out? You're going to hire the one who's charging more. You're not going to hire the cheap guy. Okay. And so I just loved that story. And, expectation management wise, the guy was really, really good. But he had this passive aggressive personality. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but he would just have people so annoyed with him that they'd be just rolling over for him to get stuff done. Because he'd just be in there just like, in the documents on 4 junior lawyers, hounding them and dictating the deal. I mean, he was so cool. One time he had to get a deal closed by midnight, December 31st. So they threw the whole deal team into a chartered 747. well, maybe it was a 747, maybe it was something else, and started flying west, so that the time wouldn't run out.
To do it.
Yeah, so they could get the deal done by midnight.
That's put like hilarious.
6 more hours on the clock.
That's
they were filing
hilarious.
It was an airline leasing company, and they were filing some leases. They had to be in for some special tax treatment by December 31st. So doing that move saved the company like $340 million. And
that's
so they asked
amazing.
for his bill, and he gave him a bill for $50 million.
I love
2
that.
days work.
Love that shit.
They were like, we thought you were going to charge more.
All right. Thank you for listening and watching, folks. Please rate, review us on Apple Podcasts, or give us a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on the bell on YouTube so you hear about us. Tell your friends and family. If you have ideas for the show, please don't hesitate to message me, B05Crypto on Twitter and Telegram, B05Crypto, #2143 on Discord. If you hate the show, please message Joe. And we're out. Love you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.